24 hours with JB. Let's talk. You gotta switch your style up. What do you mean by that, Jay? Great question. Every so often, see, here's the first thing. In life, there's levels, right? Levels, right? So, you reach one level, you'll probably be doing the same thing that you was doing on your prior levels, right? You reach another level, you'll probably still do the same thing. At some point in time, from levels 1 through 10, you're gonna have to switch up a little bit. What do you mean switch up a little bit? Good question. What I mean by that is, let's say if levels 1 through 5, you wasn't getting a manicure or pedicure. When you get to that 5th level, switch your style up, beloved. Just dare to be different. When you get to level 10, switch something up about you. Implement some cardio. Read 5 pages before you go to sleep. Listen to you get to level 15. Basically, about every 5 levels, you want to switch your life up in some sort of form and fashion, because the truth of the matter is, you're changing. Though it may be unbeknownst to you, you're changing every single time. You understand what I'm saying? So thus, you can't change and do the same things that you were doing before. And that's what tends to happen a lot of the times. That's what has happened to me. I've reached certain levels and I'm just grinding, climbing higher and higher, but I'm still doing the same thing and or things that I was doing on my previous levels. In other words, we're talking about growth. When you find yourself growing at an exponential rate, especially, you got to tweak certain things, beloved. Because the truth of the matter is, you're not going to get from letter A to letter Z by using the same exact formula. You're going to have to tweak the formula in some form and or fashion. Now, for the most part, we stick to the core basics, right? The core essentials, the core concepts, yes. But again, along the way, we're going to have to switch things up. And whether that's talking to a therapist, right, to get that professional help. Whether that's taking things that stimulate your mind, right, such as lion's mane and things of the like. Whether it's drinking a green juice, switching up your diet. See, as for myself, especially after each level, I just started changing. You know what? I want to get into that. I want to start doing that. I want to start doing this. I want to stop doing this. And sometimes I was able to be intentional about it. Slow it down. And at other times, life just started lifing. Boom, 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 boom. So now I'm like, yeah, nah, I gotta change, beloved. You gotta switch that. You're doing a little too much of that. You know what I'm saying? And this is how we get to the person who you see behind you right now. Sorry, in front of you right now. You have to change. You have to, because just think about it. Every single thing around you changes the more successful you become. And you want to, again, stay at who you truly are. You want to be who you truly are at all times, yes. But you're not in the same exact place or places where you once were. So thus, we now have to do things differently. And growth could be intimidating. Growth can cause you to feel uncertain about yourself and or about your environment, because it's uncomfortable, because it's a challenge. But again, as I always say, that how bad you want it. Again, as I always say, Jaquan as a parent is not the same Jaquan who was in college, right? Who was working the restaurant, running the kitchen. Those are two different individuals. So the fact that I'm always constantly reinvigorating myself, I have to constantly change things. And that's just where I'm at in life now. I say all that to say that, right? Where I'm at in life now, you could say something disrespectful to me. The old Jaquan would, yo, what the all right, cool, copy. I see we're not on the same wavelength, clearly, right? If I respond to your negativity, what is that going to do to me and mine? This is how I think now. Sometimes I sacrifice a little more. At this stage in my life, presentation should be everything. Presentation is everything, yes. But my most essential, my most valuable tool in this day and time is this. So thus, I'll cut back on other areas because I'm working on a long-term plan. What I have in mind, what I have set in stone, a lot of people couldn't even overstand, let alone understand. You feel me? So thus, I'm currently reverse engineering my entire, in other words, this is my goal right here. I'm taking this step back, this step back, this step back, this step back, there, all the way to here because I know what it takes to get to that end goal. So I'm not working as if the end goal is 10, 20 years away. No, I'm working as if the end goal is tomorrow, and I'm breaking my life down into sectors, into sections, into blocks to get towards that finish line. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I really want to create a legacy. That's really my goal. That's really my objective, right? And with me having a family, with me having a tribe, I now have to move completely different, as well as I now have to sacrifice times the number of individuals that are in my household, right? Everything is a sacrifice, not just one time, not just 2 times, not just 3 times, not just 4, but 5 different times I have to sacrifice, right? This is where me being altruistic comes into play, right? Unselfish. But again, I say that to say I'm thinking on a different level, because it's not enough for me to just pass money. It's not enough for me to just say, here's X amount of dollars, here's X amount of dollars. Daddy's no longer here. No. I have to create blueprints. I have to create guidelines. I have to have some sort of insurance in play for when I'm no longer here. That's the succession play. So again, I say all of that to say I'm constantly working on myself. Every time I get to a new level, I readjust the game plan. And when I come up with a solid game plan, sometimes that game plan works for 2-3 weeks and I have to tweak it again. Right? The only thing that's permanent right now in my life is change, because I'm constantly changing, beloved, on a constant basis. And like I told my wife, with me being here, with me being able to adapt to any and everything at any and every time, that's causing me to remain focused and stay the course. Stick to the core rituals and adapt new ones along the way. I know I'm destined for greatness. I know I've been at this for quite some time. I know the results are shown in certain areas and lagging in others, although it may seem that way. But again, it's up to me to be the master of my art. Thank you for everyone who tuned into this video. You are witnessing greatness right before your very eyes. I'm not stopping until I get to the top. There is no falling short. There is no mishappenings. There is no anything that does not reconcile with greatness will not be attached to me or anyone who stands around me. That's how we on it, beloved. Stay tuned, stay focused,